Hello everyone, Loremaster of Sotek here, and we've got more start positions to talk about. Plus, we've got another major article that came out earlier today that I will cover in a separate video that I'm going to make immediately after this one. But I wanted to go ahead and get the start position video out of the way because these usually aren't too long and, you know, it's easy to do. So we have Grand Cathay, which came out yesterday, and then the Skaven, which came out today. And I am really digging how this map is starting to look, my dudes. Things are looking fantastic for the Ratmen. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the characters who have not moved. So we, of course, have Throt up in Hell Pit. We have Icket Claw in Skaven Blight. And then we have Lord Skrolk in Supatoon, very, very close to Oxiol and all those other places that he takes over very, very quickly. So the three Skaven that did not move at all, I'm super happy for them. Like, they're great. Awesome. Hell Pit is a fantastic starting place. Obviously, from a lore standpoint, it's great for Throt, but it also just makes Kislev a very interesting place to fight now. You know, we've always kind of had that interesting dynamic between Throg and Throt, where the two of them tend to team up very quickly. And they make for good early allies, but now with Kostaltin and Katerin in the mix, I think there's going to be some really, really fun versus opportunities up there against the AI or even against other players. But really, really happy with Throt. Great, awesome, no complaints. Same thing for Icket Claw. Skaven Blight looking great as always. She's beautiful, she's wonderful. Skaven Blight, prettiest city. Awesome, wonderful, great. And Lord Skrolk, I am very, very happy for Skrolk because he is no longer just completely surrounded and drowning in potential adversaries. We have already heard from Creative Assembly that Lokir Fellheart has moved somewhere near Cathay. In addition to that, we also have Teclis being in a completely different continent. It just looks so much cleaner. It looks so much cleaner. I am very, very glad that Skrolk is going to be able to kind of stretch his rat muscles and get out there to face off against Tehinawin and the other lizardmen around him while being a nuisance. I do hope that Skrolk maybe gets a little bit of love, as well as Queek, who we'll get into in a second. But I really hope Skrolk gets some kind of new plague mechanic. I would not be surprised if he does not get anything right now. We might have to wait until later. But it would be very, very nice to see him even get like a much dumbed down version of the plague mechanic for himself. Speaking of Queek, Queek Headtaker has actually moved a little bit north. So for anyone that doesn't remember, Queek Headtaker used to be here in the Devil's Backbone. So he used to be just a little bit south of where Skarbrand is starting. And he started in Karag Orud, which was right around here-ish. But Queek has actually moved a full province north and is now in Misty Mountain, bordering the Broken Teeth province. So he's actually right behind a set of mountains that leads to Nagashazar. And as we can see, he is much, much closer to Carrick 8 Peaks. So Carrick 8 Peaks is only one province away from him. The only thing he's got to do is cross the Eastern Badlands into 8 Peaks, and boom, he's there. Unless they've moved Skarsnik and Belagar, that means Queek is by far going to be the closest character to 8 Peaks. He is much closer. I assume he's still going to start with a Undercity beneath Carrick 8 Peaks, which honestly, I think for him is going to be really, really solid. Those can give you some really nice buffs for your army. So presumably you'll be able to build it up to have some really powerful buffs to make your Skaven as strong as possible and kind of build up your starting army. You know, fill yourself up to a 20 stack maybe, pick up a second general who's a wizard so you have some magic, and then move north and take the 8 Peaks probably within the first 10 turns with Queek Headtaker. That's how I imagine they're going to want you to encourage you to play as Queek. Queek is definitely another one of those characters who could use quite a bit of love and really use some new changes. Something I've talked about in the past, and I've even played a mod based on it, though the mod was very incomplete. I do like the base idea, which is that I really hope we're able to one day get a true head taker mechanic for Queek. One of the things that's really, really interesting about the head taker from a lore standpoint is that his trophy rack, which is that thing on his back, the big spikes thing that he puts all the heads and stuff on, Queek's trophy rack is not a static collection. Obviously it's really, really famous nowadays for having a Skaven head, an orc head, a dwarf head, and a set of human hands, but it actually, Queek switches them out depending on what he's doing and what he kind of just feels is which heads deserve to be with him at that time. He has a huge collection of decapitated heads that are not even necessarily heads, sometimes they're just bits of people that he's killed over the years, and even creatures. Like he has a wyvern head that is talked about in one of the stories, but he switches out the various heads depending on what he's going up against and what kind of advice he's looking for, because of course his heads talk to him constantly and they tell him things he should not be able to know. So there does seem to be some genuine magical spooky stuff going on there. It would be so great. Probably the best idea I've seen, which is what the mod used, is if Queek's head taker mechanic was basically a bastardized version of Grom's cauldron mechanic, where basically as you run around and you fight and kill things, you unlock certain decapitated heads or, you know, body bits, and you can combine them to put on your trophy rack, and depending on what different trophies you have active, you get different bonuses. So maybe you get various buffs, or you get like little bonuses to, I would say that most of them should focus entirely on just buffing Queek. So, you know, where Grom's Cauldron is about buffing his army or his faction, or Grom himself, I feel like Queek should be much more selfish, right? Because it's Queek. So for him, I think it'd be much more fitting for that it only buffs Queek himself, but it makes him terrifying. You know, maybe a couple of them should affect like his troops, because maybe they make him more intimidating, so his troops are more likely to behave themselves. So maybe he gets one that makes his storm vermin, maybe he gets one that makes like all of his clan rats unbreakable, or he gets one that makes his storm vermin better, or whatever. Something like that would be really, really cool. But once again, that's kind of one of those things I'm not expecting to fit into the Immortal Empires base release. That's something I would like to see in the future. Maybe when we get some Skaven themed content around like Thankful or something, we could see Lord Skrulk and Queek Headtaker get some love. But yeah, anyway, moving on. Tretch Craventail. Oh boy. So Tretch has left Nagaroth. There's no more Skaven in Nagaroth. Tretch has abandoned ship as he does. He said, "Stay here, I'll get help." And he ran all the way back across the entire planet to Crookback Mountain. So Crookback Mountain is now a full Clan Rictus base. It is no longer led by a Clan Rictus, with Clan Rictus's legendary lord being in a different part of the world. Instead, he's gone home, and I am thrilled for him. I think that's going to be awesome. That gives the Darklands a really awesome Skaven character, especially because they're going to need it, because their original Skaven character has actually gone home. So with Tretch back in Crookback Mountain, that's going to start him off with a really, really powerful set of bonuses. There is a landmark building in Crookback Mountain that makes Storm Vermin absolutely insane, because it grants them like the Encourage aura and a bunch of other buffs, but you're able to get it quite quickly, and that is going to make Tretch an absolute powerhouse. But I love that start position for him. I love that Tretch gets to kind of feature as the primary Skaven antagonist once the Chaos Dwarves make it into the game, and I just think it's awesome. I'm really, really happy with Tretch being there. We all wanted him there in Mortal Empires once it expanded out far enough that we got Crookback Mountain, but it's nice to see that, you know, they've listened to the community and finally made that change. I will say that this does, for me, further reinforce moving Elithanar. Now that we know that Tretch Craventail is no longer, I believe he was in the Granite Hills originally, let's just let Elithanar take over Tretch's old haunt. instead of being in a major dark elf city. But that's all I'm going to say on that. I already waxed lyrical on it last time. But yeah, Tretch, very, very happy with that change. You know, no more Skaven and Nagaroth. Whatever. And then, of course, there is over in Grand Cathay, we have Clan Eshin. So, good old Deathmaster Snitch has moved to Shingpo, which is a little... I don't know. I can't remember if that settlement is in the Chaos campaign. I believe it is, because I believe the Chaos campaign goes down to the Celestial Lake, though I'm not 100% sure. It's been a while since I've been to that part of Cathay in Realm of Chaos, but I'm really, really happy Deathmaster Snitch has gone back. It's good. It's really cool to see kind of where Clan Eshin is based in Grand Cathay. I always figured they probably weren't entirely in the Warpstone Desert. To me, it always made more sense for their headquarters to be, a true Undercity. For the Skaven to have like a proper Undercity, but that exists in the undergrowth of one of the major Cathayan cities. So Shingpo being where they're from, I think makes absolute sense. And it's really, really cool to see that they're kind of more in the center of Cathay, as opposed to just kind of being on the outliers in the Warpstone Desert. Plus, if he was in the Warpstone Desert, I think he would have been far too, he would have just been sandwiched between, he would have been really sandwiched, actually, between the two Cathayan factions. So I'm really, really glad they moved him a little bit further to the right, so he has some breathing room starting in the Forest of the Moon province. But that's gonna be a really fun campaign. I cannot wait to explore all of Cathay. Probably one of, like, geographically speaking, the thing I'm the most excited for is exploring Cathay. But overall, I'm really, really happy with the Skaven. They're in lots of interesting places. None of them are too close together. The two closest ones are Queek and Tretch, but there's like really important lore reasons for that. And even then, Queek Headtaker is kind of more of your Southlands Bowl character, whereas Tretch is more of a Darklands experience. Like, you can head back into the World's Edge Mountains, but I honestly think it's probably going to be better to go into the Darklands with Tretch. But yeah, really, really like the Skaven, and there's really not too much to say about Cathay. They moved all of nowhere. Miao Ying is still in Nangao, which is a great, excellent start position. And then Zhao Ming, I think, moved just a teeny tiny bit, but he's still basically in the same spot. He's right on the border there with the Mountains of Morn, and he's right near the Warpstone Desert, and he's not starting in Shenyang, but he's near Shenyang, all that stuff. So yeah, honestly, for Cathayan Skaven, 10 out of 10. Easy 10 out of 10. I am beyond thrilled. Everything's looking really, really great so far. I can't remember who tomorrow is, but I'm excited to see who it's going to be. And now I got to go make a video on all of the new factions that just got revealed. So let me know what y'all think of these start positions down below. How are you feeling about the Skaven in particular? I mean, Grand Cathay is, it's Grand Cathay. They didn't really change that much. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Skaven. And let me know, so who so far do you want to start as? We've got a pretty good list of legendary lords here. Is there anyone that you're looking at and you're like, yeah, that's my guy? Like, I know for a fact I want to play this character unless something really big happens. Let me know down in the comments. But thank you all for watching. I got to go make that other video, and I'll see you guys later today. All right, thanks for watching.